All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. I am no longer able to schedule live streams on YouTube. I don't know why, but this is definitely a problem because then I can't it's harder to announce when I'm going live. So this is going to be an issue. I don't know if it's a technical issue. I don't know if it's something I'm doing. Now, I'm not doing anything different, but it could be I'm more shadow banned now than before because I'm talking about the election. And I know Bitcoin Motorist doesn't want me to say the words Trump election or ballots, but I just said them. So the shadow banning might continue. We'll see how many live viewers we get. No idea. But let's go. We got to talk about Bitcoin. Sorry, I couldn't bring you this video earlier. I just had a really busy day, not only with my own trading, but also just some very important meetings in the morning. As much as I wanted to bring you this early in the morning, hopefully everything I said, are we still live? What the? Did my thing just freeze? Audio still good, video's frozen. All right. Are we back? I think we're back. Let me give it a second. Okay, we're back. All right. It's rough. It's rough when you're on the wrong side of the election. Weird things start to happen, which is why which is another reason to suspect that there are shenanigans going on in the other issue that has to do with the election. If my streams are suddenly having problems, have nothing to do with me. Let's go to screen share. Let's talk about Bitcoin first. I'm going to talk about the other issue after, so at least I get my Bitcoin analysis in, and then if I get shut down after, at least I got my Bitcoin analysis in. Let me turn on this second monitor here. Okay, get that out of the way. All right, we are screen sharing. This is the daily chart. Now, the daily chart is really important. Yesterday, when I was doing this stream, I was considering taking my profits out of GBTC, which I did not. I was praying for a pump today to get me out of the GBTC position, which it did. So I did not exit 100% of my GBTC position in my retirement accounts, but I exited more than 50% of my tradable position. Okay. There's really no reason to talk about at which point I got out, but rest assured, I got out above this red line. Where above this red line doesn't really matter. I certainly did not catch the very top, but I let the thing run a little bit, and I sold on the way down because I don't know where the top is. So if I do end up zooming in, and we're going to talk about where I got out of my GBTC positions, and I didn't do it all at once. I was basically exiting on these red candles. So this is the 1 hour chart. So I got out on this red candle, and then I left a little bit, hoping it'll go back up, and then I got out in the last hour. So in between 2 and 3 p.m. So I got out partially here, and then again partially here when it like I figured, hey, if it comes back up, I'll take it again. I don't know if we're going to break the top again, but these were my exits. My exits were around here and around here. This was a limit order I put in early in the morning because I had a limit order yesterday, which I canceled the moment the markets were, I woke up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I have to cancel my limit order because it's going to gap up and I have no idea. It's just too erratic. So I canceled my exit order. Thank God it didn't get filled yesterday. And then I put in another one in the morning before just as the market was opening, and that order ended up getting filled. Oh, so if it got filled and I got out around here, so it would have gotten out here because I wasn't paying attention to it. So, but it's the same price. And then the second batch, because it went higher than I expected, the second even higher than I expected, the second batch I just got out. So I still have some of that GBTC position. I just was not in front of the market all day for that second half I was. That's why this video came late. And I am out more than 50% of my trade, just as I said. It was great that it popped more than I expected. I would have been happy with 14.4, which is where I had my limit order set yesterday. But when that didn't fill, I changed it today. And I didn't catch the top, but I got out at approximately current price, actually. So one a little bit lower and one at approximately current price. So those were my exits, okay? Because I do think we're going to pull back. This was the big pop I was waiting for. Can the market continue? This is the big question. Well, I can make a very good bullish case right now for the market. Let's go to the weekly chart. The weekly chart is looking very, very bullish. Now, this is today's Thursday, so the week is halfway through. And if by the end of the week we have a candle that looks more like this, and we pull back, making this big long shadow at the top, I would have been very happy with my exits at approximately current price. However, if we continue, if we stay here for the rest of the week or we go higher, that actually makes me bullish going into late into the weekend and into next week. So the bullish case is the weekly chart still has 3 weeks to go before we reach an MRI top, which is very, very bullish. Can we make it to 20,000 in the next 3 weeks? It's possible. I don't think it's likely, but it is possible. I am happy with my gains. I have been holding on to those gains for a while. We have surpassed my bullish target for the year, surpassed it a while ago. I did not think we would break 14,000 this year, but we did. And we still have a month and a half to go. So I am happy taking my profit right here. The daily chart, I would never enter bullish on this candle. This is the candle that follows an MRI top candle. In my trading, I never go long on this candle, no matter how ridiculous this candle is. This is the one candle I do not FOMO. It's actually not the one candle I don't FOMO. I actually don't FOMO on this candle, or this one, which kind of sucks because if you had FOMO'd in the beginning of this candle 3 days ago, you would have made a lot of money. That's a 10% move for $1,400 Bitcoin move. That's off the open. I'm not even cherry picking the low and the high. My trading style will not let me FOMO on these 3 candles. This is my no-no zone. If I am not in the trade to the upside when the candle before the MRI top comes, the MRI candle, and the following candle, that's not what I FOMO. In addition to this being an MRI top, we have extension A and 2 extension C's ending. Everything in my charting analysis points to this area being a top, not the time to FOMO in. And because I was already long, I'm happy to take profit here, and I will gladly go back in later on if I need to. So the daily chart is telling me not to FOMO here, to stay patient and wait for a pullback, which is a little bit of a conflict with the weekly chart, which is telling me to just stay in the trade. So what does this say? This says that if I have a long-term HODL position, I should not be very concerned. I should stay bullish. But if I have a swing trade position that depends on daily candles, this is my time to take a profit. And that's what my GBTC position was. It was somewhere in between a long-term HODL and a swing trade, because I've held some of those since the breakouts back here. So I've been holding this thing for months now. I don't remember when some of those I got in on. So I've been holding this thing for months, and for me, it's time to take some profit. and bank that profit in. Let's go to, this is the 1 hour chart. Let's go to the 4 hour chart. While this is not a great candle, it's also not a terrible candle on a 4 hour scale. I want to see if this is an MRI top candle. And if it is, because I haven't looked yet, I wasn't using the 4 hour chart. So if this is an MRI top candle, which it could be, no, it's coming next candle. So this is the MRI warning candle, which is good enough for me. And I was really hoping one of these two was an MRI top, but I guess one of these candles missed it by a little bit. So this is another indication that maybe it's time to take some profit. It's never a bad idea to take some profit. So I'm happy with my profit. I'm happy exiting here on the majority of my position. And go to the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart is consolidating near the top, which is actually bullish. So the 1 hour chart is pretty bullish, waiting for the MRI to load. And the 1 hour chart told you to get out right here, the 1 hour before the top. This is double MRI top. So here's the hourly chart. Here's the daily chart. Look how similar they look. It's an extension C on the same candle as a second consecutive MRI top. So my 1 hourly chart here was definitely screaming at me to get out. I did not even know that, but I set my limit orders. I changed my limit orders this morning and I got out around here. I thought it was this candle, but now that I'm replaying my morning, it was more like this candle, but I wasn't like pulling the trigger. It was a limit order that got filled that I entered before market opened, because I'm limited to a 7 hour trading day on GBTC in a retirement account. I also got out of my QBTC. I know I'm saying GBTC. I had both QBTC and GBTC. I don't think I'll be trading QBTC, only because it's not as liquid and my data feed on it isn't great. And I don't have a fancy chart like this to gauge the premium of QBTC. And that's not because I can't do it. It's because I've just been too busy and too lazy to do it. I really should. I'm still having trouble reaching my developers to help me out with this. I really don't want to program, not my specialty. So because I don't have an easy reference as to what the premium is on QBTC versus GBTC, I'm just going to stick to GBTC until I get a better handle on QBTC on the Canadian exchanges, which I do have access to trade, but I don't have live data. So I don't know why my broker isn't giving it to me, probably because I haven't yelled at them or complained enough. But in any case, I'm done with QBTC. I'm just going to stick to GBTC for now until a real ETF comes. As you can see, the premium broke 20%, which is great. Would have loved to see it closer to 25, but I'm okay with this. So there you go. So that's Bitcoin. Now let's look forward. Let's look ahead a little bit. As always, I'm going to keep adjusting the hyperwave phase 7. As long as it's not horizontal, it's still in effect. Just memory of for Tyler, the great late Tyler Jenks. The monthly chart is looking very good. The month just started. This is a warning top. So we can top on the current month, and we already have. Current month just made a new swing high. So this is going to be the highest monthly close. We already had the highest monthly close, by the way. We had the highest monthly close last month, or close to it. So we're certainly have the highest monthly close this month. Will we close at a new high monthly close? I have no idea. We still have a full month to go. But this is more indication that there should be a short-term top. Does it have to be? Of course not. Back to the weekly chart. The weekly is still bullish. Now, if the weekly keeps going up and it gets me into a weekly MRI top, that's when I'm exiting the rest of my GBTC. I don't have GBTC as a long-term hodl. I am somewhere between a swing trade and somewhere more like a position trade, swing trade. And I know I should wait for the market to turn and wait for it to cross the moving average, but I trust the MRI. It certainly did a good job for a buy here, even though that didn't last very long. And it certainly did a good job on a sell right here. So the last 2 times the MRI told me to do anything in the last year and a half, it's done well. So I don't mind if we haven't had a weekly MRI. This will be the second time an MRI is telling you anything this year, other than telling you to take your profit here, and you could have gotten back in afterwards with off of a symmetric triangle. So if it tells me to sell in 3 weeks, I'll sell the rest of my GBTC. And I'll go to a GBTC position of 0. I'm okay with that because I'm not going to make the same mistakes I did again. I was not trading GBTC here because I was wrong. Tyler Jenks was right and I was wrong. I should not have been so hostile towards GBTC like I was when it launched, because it's not a real Bitcoin. And Tyler was right and I was wrong. And this is why I am not hostile to PayPal like a lot of the other Bitcoin maximalists. I am actually, well, I don't think it's great, but I'm not hostile to PayPal. I will probably use PayPal. I saw that Jeremy Allaire or somebody tweeted out that they were able to buy Bitcoin on PayPal. I have no clue how to do that. I don't know if he has special access or what, but I am not being hostile to PayPal as to them offering Bitcoin buys, because I'm happy to speculate on the price of Bitcoin with the money I have sitting on PayPal anyway, even though I can't take the Bitcoin, and it will just sit there in PayPal and I get to trade for free. So the weekly chart is still bullish. The daily chart is bullish, but here's what I need. Those of you that have learned the MRI from me know that I need another candle to trade higher than current candle for my bullish entry following an MRI top. But you guys also know that I don't like to FOMO. Now, not FOMOing could cause serious potential missed opportunities. And again, going back to my mistakes in the 2017 bull market, and maybe if I was more open to GBTC, I would have been in. But I remember setting a bunch of limit orders into GBTC in very early 2017 when the price was $2,000 and my orders did not get filled. And the price just ran away from me and I never got in. And I remember that vividly, that I, tried buying a bunch of GBTC. That's when I finally, gave up on fighting GBTC and actually using it. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy into GBTC. And I set my limit orders like $5 below. Back then it was, GBTC was trading at $200. And I put in an order to buy at 190 as it was trading at 200. And it was right here during this breakout area. And I never got filled. And then I waited for a pullback to 5,000, which I never got. I waited for a pullback to 1,300 here, which I never got. And this candle got away from me again. So unfortunately, I missed my opportunities in profiting in GBTC in this big run up. And that was a big mistake on my part. It's not that I wasn't bullish. It's just that by the time I started trusting GBTC, it wasn't liquid enough to get me filled. And then I didn't feel like chasing. And then it just kept running away from me. And I don't like to chase. I'll take a missed opportunity over a bad trade any day of the week. It's just my trading style. That's my trading style. Everyone has their own trading style. I didn't make that mistake this time around. This time around, I was all over GBTC. I was setting very tight limit orders that would get filled. If not, I just took the market orders. GBTC is a lot more liquid now. It's a lot easier to get filled. So let's look. I have no idea what gold did today or the S&P. I just know that Bitcoin dominance is rising. That's what I saw. Beautiful. So Bitcoin dominance is back to where it started the year, I believe. 2020. I was a little higher than that. We'll get there. I think we'll get there. So that's pretty good. I really want to, oh yeah, the red line is the dominance at start of the year. I think we're good. I said early this year in January that Bitcoin dominance should be at 80% by end of year. That's looking unlikely at this point, but of course possible. Gold. So gold is popping to the upside. What does that mean? I don't know. What does it mean for the election? Does it mean that one side is winning over another? I don't know. But as I've been saying for many podcasts, if we start breaking this red line on a close-end basis, I am bearish. But if we start breaking 1920 on a close-end basis, I am bullish. This is a very strong case for gold. I don't know if that means that Trump can retain presidency or Biden took the presidency. As of right now, I am mentally preparing for a Biden presidency. Tone, has DBTC HODL already no taxes in the IRA? So it depends on your IRA. I'm not a tax advisor, nor am I an IRA advisor. I have both an IRA and a Roth IRA, and you really should Google the difference between them. I love picking up GBTC in my Roth IRA, which means that those gains will never be taxed. But you need a Roth IRA for that. So look into the details of how to set up a Roth IRA. It's not hard. Do you think raising capital gains tax under Biden administration would hurt Bitcoin and stocks? Hurt is a tough thing for me to agree on. It'll certainly alter the way people invest and trade. That's for damn sure. Okay. So it'll alter it. I'll have to think more about it as to how much. I think higher taxes hurt everything. I think higher taxes hurt freedom. I think higher taxes hurt economies. I am not a fan of high taxes. I believe taxes should be as low as possible. If the government is printing the majority of the money anyway, I don't understand why taxes even exist if they're going to print money. If taxes don't never cover your expenses, then what's the point? And in the last 100 years, the places with the most friendly tax jurisdiction have done the best. We're talking Hong Kong, Dubai, other areas. So these areas with the least tax burden have done incredibly well. All right, let's go to the stock market. So the stock market isn't as bullish as gold. Once again, I have to repeat myself because I've been saying it for a while. Markets don't like uncertainty. The bigger the battle for who's the next president is, the more standoffish prices are going to be. Now, there's two types of uncertainty. This kind of like known unknowns and unknown unknowns. So markets would absolutely love it if there was a government gridlock. So, for example, if Biden wins the presidency, but the Republicans retain the Senate, I know the Democrats have the House, but because the overwhelming view, and in my mind, it's not even close, that the Democrats cheated in the election with mail-in ballots, the Republicans in the Senate will not want to do anything with the Democrats. So a complete gridlock, not allowing the House and not allowing the president with filibusters left and right, not allowing the government to actually do anything is very good for the stock market, because the certainty of investors that nothing will get done from the government is actually very bullish for the stock market. Very bullish. However, at the moment, because there is huge uncertainty as to who the president is going to be, that kind of uncertainty is not good for the stock market. So uncertainty is bad, certainty is good, even if that certainty is the certainty of uncertainty of what's going to get done. So the certainty of knowing that there is gridlock in government is bullish, but the uncertainty of how that gridlock is going to happen is bearish. As weird as this sounds, that's my thinking in my brain. Well, I cannot say that mail-in votes are fraud. You have to prove fraud. But look, if the government starts digging into the voter fraud, I guarantee you they will find more evidence than God knows what was on Hillary's server. So if the government starts looking for voter fraud, I'm sure they're going to find it. Like a WikiLeaks server won't be enough to hold all of that fraud. The problem is, who is going to be looking for this fraud? Because if Biden becomes president, there will not be an investigation into voter fraud. And here is the big dilemma. If Trump somehow retains the presidency, it will be looked at as very hostile. I don't exactly want to see Trump on TV saying, I am president and you cheated, because that seems a little dictatorial. I still believe in some form of a democracy. So Trump staying in office in a hostile fashion is a little too dictatorial for my taste. But if Trump is not in office, there will be absolutely no investigation into the voter fraud, just like what happened in 2000. If there was voter fraud in 2000, I would say that it was more on the Republican side than the Democrat side. And when when Bush became president, there certainly was no investigation into that potential voter fraud. So I'm expecting the same thing here. If Biden is your president in January, then there's not going to be an investigation into voter fraud. And here we are. We have Biden. So this is going to be crazy. I mean, this really is about to be really, really crazy. Look at YFI. I've never even looked at YFI. That's that scam, the DeFi scam, right? That was the big one. That was like the most popular DeFi scam at one point, wasn't it? I've never looked at its chart. I mean, we can take a look. What is it? Oh, I'm in futures. Hold on. I want to be in all. So this is YFI. Oh boy. YFI versus Tether, I guess, or versus Bitcoin. I like looking at things versus Bitcoin. You can look at it on Binance. I mean, someone asked for Coinbase. We can glance at Coinbase first. Oh, nice. It's still worth $8,000. It's still worth $8,857.32. Oh, 10 cents now. And I think that is $8,857 overvalued. Maybe a valuation of 10 cents is a little more fair. We can look at it in terms of Bitcoin. I'm sure it's doing great. YFI versus Bitcoin. Nice. Excellent. Look, these are outright scams. And if you want to trade them, you want to invest in them, that's on you. All right, so I see a comment, and I've already seen this flash several times. Toad, really important. The exchange-specific wicks don't liquidate your position. Well, they do if you're on that exchange. If market price isn't the same as the wick, well, obviously, yes. Now, if you're trading on a derivatives exchange, well, those wicks are usually bigger than the underlying wicks. So you're certainly going to get liquidated. It depends on what exchange you're trading on. Anyway, We did a little moment of silence for Bcash. BCH is going to have its fork coming up. BCH. Oh, actually, I can pull up like a chart. Looked at it recently. BCH is done. Put a fork in this thing and wait till speaking of fork, put a fork in it because the fork's coming. So this thing is just going lower. This week, we are now down to 0.016. I'm already calling it Dcash. Remember my scale, once it fell below 0.3 or 0.5, I forgot what I tweeted out years ago. It should be called Ccash and not Bcash. Once it falls below 0.02, once it falls below 2% of the price of Bitcoin, it should be called Dcash. And once it falls below 1% of the price of Bitcoin, you can start referring to it as Fcash. So Fcash is coming once it falls below 0.01%. All right, we can glance at the election statistics. Once again, we go to predicted. Biden is now a 90% chance of winning. Predicted now has Biden winning Georgia, which I did not expect. They still have Biden winning Arizona big. They have Biden winning Nevada even bigger, and they have Biden winning Pennsylvania big. At least they finally gave Alaska to Trump. So if we actually go to another combined prediction site, Biden is a 90% chance to win. So here's what I've been kind of paying attention to. And we have one more here as well. Arizona is back to being for Biden. I guess they're calling it, but it's only 88%. So if 88% of the votes have been counted and Trump is down by only 2%, I don't understand how they can call Arizona. Now, the New York Times removed Biden from winning Arizona. They have it at 86% estimated votes. Trump is down by 2.5 percentage points. I give him, a small outside chance to win Arizona, and he had a chance to win Nevada. He's now down more in Nevada than the last time I looked at this map yesterday. But now Georgia's in question. Now it looks like prediction markets are saying Biden is even going to win Georgia. So even if Trump gets Arizona back, he still needs Nevada or Georgia. Assuming Trump gets Pennsylvania, which is on the prediction markets, is also being handed to Biden. So look, according to all the metrics, Biden is very likely to be the next president. What would I like to see? I would like a full, proper investigation into the mail-in ballots and other voter fraud. Am I expecting to see that investigation? If Biden is the winner, absolutely not. I'm not expecting anything to be investigated if Biden is the winner. If Trump is the winner, there will be a serious investigation into voter fraud. However, for Trump to be the winner, he has to almost be a dictator to stay in office. So, shit's bad no matter which way you go. As much as I would love to see Trump another 4 years, I don't see that happening. And I can't support Trump taking on dictatorial powers and locking down the White House with him in it. I can't support that. I wouldn't say Trump messed up big time. I wouldn't say that. I think Trump just underestimated the fear-mongering over the virus, blaming him for the crash of the economy, even though it was those pushing for the government shutdowns that caused the crash in the economy, and the left was pushing for it's like a catch-22. The left and the left-leaning states and the left-leaning governments pushed for the lockdowns, which caused a bigger economic crash, which they blamed on Trump. So this is complete bullshit. And I think Trump underestimated, and so did I, how badly the Democrats were gonna, like the levels to which the Democrats would go to get presidency back. My video froze. Can you guys still hear me? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. My video back. I don't know what's happening. Look, I don't know if China got rid of the virus or they didn't get rid of the virus, but here's what I do know about China. Those videos from China where a guy is just standing there next to a fence and then falls over on his face, clearly that was fake, because the virus has not done that to anyone anywhere in the world outside of China. So that video alone should prove to you that there was bullshit about the virus from day one. Just that one video of a guy falling over, and there were many of those videos. People lying on the street, dying from COVID. Clearly those videos, I don't know what those people were on, what they were doing, but clearly COVID doesn't cause that. And we know that now. All right, let's go back to the charts. We are moving higher here. Like I said, I am happy with my exit. I'm happy with my exit. Now, I can still be bullish again, but as of right now, I'm happy with my exit. And I will not even be able to trade GBTC in 10 minutes, 9 minutes. So I'm happy with my exit because I don't know what's going to happen overnight. Bitcoin could open 16,000 tomorrow, but it could also open at 14,000 tomorrow. And gold's still pumping. Gold's probably pumping for the same reason the Bitcoin is pumping. People are scared about what's going to happen and they want harder money. Bitcoin will crash so badly this time. I don't think so. There's no volume. There is uncertainty. Bezos just sold 3 billion of his stock. Well, I'm not surprised. Well, 3 billion for Bezos isn't a lot, but yeah, if it looks like Biden is getting elected, nobody wants long-term capital gains to go up. So many people are going to sell their positions and cash out, while especially the rich. And remember, if you have your little 401k, if you have your little pension fund, you're invested in the stock market. So when Biden raises capital gains on the rich sell the stocks and get out. That causes the stock market to drop. So your little pension fund, you're going to lose money in that little pension fund. You think he's only taxing the rich, but when the rich sell their stocks, your pension investments get crushed. And the $5,000 that you're going to lose in your pension fund is a lot more important to you, to the average person, than the $3 billion for Bezos. This is the bad part about raising taxes on investments, even on the rich. Because as the rich bail, your pension fund goes down in value. I think the dollar is pumping too. Well, actually, I think the dollar is crashing. That's what I meant to say. The dollar is falling. It's the daily chart. It's not the end of the world, though. Yeah. Well, if the Democrats come into office, and here's another thing of frustration. The Democrats and not only the actual Democrats that are in office, but people that are voting for the Democrats, like Ronnie Moas, mentioned that I can't believe Trump printed $3 billion. That's ridiculous. $3 trillion. That's ridiculous. First of all, Trump didn't print it. And second of all, I think the Democrats would have printed more. So you can't say that Trump is printing all this money when the other side, and the dollar proves it. Look, it looks like Biden is going to win. So why is the dollar crashing? The dollar is crashing because everyone knows that if the Democrats are in office, they're going to try to print even more money. Well, Tone, that's a good question. Tone is acting like Democrats don't have pensions and investments. Well, remember, there is no law against insider trading for Congress. So those that are actual in office, they don't have to worry about insider trading. Their pensions are just fine. That's not how they make their money. They're not in the same pension funds that the average Democrat is. Yes, the average voting Democrat has pensions, but don't confuse those in positions of power and the way they invest versus the way the common worker invests. It's very, very different. Look, I wish there were laws that would not allow politicians to trade and speculate on the markets in any way, shape, or form. If I was the dictator of a country, I would say that if you are in a position of power over other people, you are not allowed to profit from speculative investment. It's that simple, okay? And if you are, every single one of your trades better be documented and checked and rechecked. But they don't have those laws at all. So no, don't confuse and that applies to every single politician, not Democrat or Republican. So that's one of the big tragedies of politics, is that they don't have laws that restrict their investing or trading, and they really should. Trump probably is the most honest of them all by getting out of his investments and handing it all off to others. Now, you may not believe that he did that, but he has publicly stated many times he has no intention of investing and trading and speculating on the fact that he's now in position of power. And I bet you not a single lifelong politician would ever say that, ever. That's true. Like, look, you don't have to believe it. I kind of believe it because Trump is not a typical politician. And I trust a businessman more than I trust a politician. Okay. So there's nothing more to say on the election. I didn't expect to know any results till Friday anyway. It looks like this is going to go further. I'm hearing rumors Trump's going to challenge the Arizona ballots in, I guess, the Arizona Supreme Court. I really hope he challenges Pennsylvania. We all knew Pennsylvania was going to be the biggest potential for fraud. We knew that going into the election. It's been mentioned. I did not expect Michigan and Wisconsin to go blue. So hopefully he'll start some kind of investigation there as well. And if Georgia flips blue, would be nice to get an investigation there as well. I want to be neutral and unbiased here, and try to pick a blue state that could potentially do an investigation that there was a possibility of fraud favoring the Republicans. If anyone wants to name a state, if anyone wants to name a red state that should be challenged for potential fraud for the Republicans, I'm happy to entertain the idea, but I'm looking at the map of red states, and I just don't see any of the current red states that should have been blue states. But that's just my opinion. Texas was a lot closer than I expected. All right. Let me see here. Someone just sent me PayPal on BCH. Bitcoin Cash BCH was okay. Should I? Hey, motorist, should I pull that up? Oh, okay. So, motorist, let me know if I should screen share that what you sent me from PayPal. In the meantime, Carl asks, and thank you for your super chat, by the way. Hey, Tone, would you please give an approximate estimate on how low Bitcoin could go this year before taking off next year? Sorry, I almost sneezed there for a second. Okay. Look, I have no idea where things are going, but I can tell you where I'm going to set my limit buy orders. Now that I've exited some GBTC here at 15,000, I am setting my buy orders in the $12,000 area. I really think we can move down to the $12,000 area. Now, the higher we go, this is a bit of a borderline candle. And I tried explaining this, and they are hard concepts to explain. If we go up really, really fast, if we go to 17,000 this week, I would then be expecting a lower pullback target. But if we go up slow, if we go to 17,000 over the rest of the year instead of the rest of this week, I would then be expecting a higher pullback. So at the moment, I am still setting my buy orders in the $12,000 vicinity. If we hit 17,000 this week, I will be setting those buy orders in the $11,000 vicinity. I'm actually going to lower them. But if we go up to 17, 18,000 really, really slowly, I will then be setting my buy orders around 13 to 14,000. So it really depends how fast and how far we go. I don't see Bitcoin under 10,000 potentially ever. Well, ever is a long time. I don't see Bitcoin under 10,000 in the near future. However, if we go up to 20,000, look, the faster we go higher, the more likely lower targets show up. Going back to the weekly chart, the reason why I was scared for a big crash in Bitcoin down to 3,000 like we did in March is because we went to 14,000 really fast and really quickly. So right now, we're not going up as fast as we did back in early 2019. And therefore, unless we go up really fast to 20,000, I'm not going to be expecting a catastrophe. But if we do go up too far too fast, I will then be expecting a catastrophe to go as low as 7,000. So what I don't want to see is 20,000 this year. I actually don't want to see that, because if we get 20,000 this year, it opens the possibility of catastrophic lows in the $7,000 range. But if we pause right here and only fall to 12,000, it is very unlikely we will ever see 10,000 again. It's a very difficult concept of trading for people to understand, that the faster you move into one direction, the more you open up the possibility of a catastrophic move in the opposite direction. And it's true for both sides. The big crash, because the crash down to 4,000 was so brutal and so fast, it opened up the possibility for higher prices sooner than later. Had the pain of going down, even if we would have only fallen to 5,000 here and not all the way to 8,000, but we did it in a more orderly fashion, we would probably still be under 10,000. So we benefited by the big catastrophe that took out some hedge funds. We benefited from the big catastrophe, open up the ceiling to go higher. But if we blow through that ceiling very, very quickly, we will then open up the floor once again for another catastrophe down to the 200-week moving average. Slow and steady wins the race. When you move up too far, you go down too far. You go down too far, you then go up too far. It's, you know, it's fun if you can catch these things, but it could be devastating for, you know, the economy at large, whether it's a crypto economy or gold or dollar or a foreign currency, it doesn't matter. Like if, for example, if I pull up the Turkish lira, oh, you know, let me read this Bcash thing, and then I'll get back to the Turkish lira, for example. All right, motorist, hope this is good. Thank you for your comment, Don. You would be an enjoyable person to have a beer and talk politics, despite my complete opposite. I'm not very hostile. Look, I know this is a one-sided conversation here, but anytime someone meets me in person, they usually don't walk away hating me. Usually, not always. Okay, so here is what Motorist sent me. Let's see. Oh boy, that's small. Give me a second. Okay. Waiting for that's what she said jokes in the comments. All right. So, oh God, non-English native speaker is about to read something live on air without pre-reading it. This never ends well. Bitcoin Cash, BCH, was created to be an alternative to Bitcoin. Well, at least people at PayPal realize it. Something for everyday transactions if crypto becomes widely accepted as a currency. The number of transactions that can be processed every second is an important measuring stick. Maybe. For example, Visa credit card processes around 2,000 transactions per second and is capable of handling a lot more. Bitcoin maxes out at about 7 transactions a second. Yes, on chain. Lightning, however, has more transactions per second than Visa. This rate is fine if crypto is only ever going to be used infrequently to buy something like a Lamborghini. Oh boy. Did PayPal post this? Okay. But not if it needs to be flexible enough to also pay for the Uber or get groceries. That's not true at all. Bitcoin Cash, with the capacity to support more than 100 transactions per second, again, very debatable, is helping to show that crypto could one day be a viable option even at the checkout line. So while this started off with PayPal knowing what Bitcoin Cash is, it's clearly ending with the fact that they don't. We will see how this ends for PayPal. I hope a lot of their clients are holding Bcash through the fork, and then they will learn firsthand what it means to support shitcoins. Tone, what if we gradually go to 20,000 on January 1st? Well, correct. That's what I've been talking about. If we gradually go to 20,000 into January 1st, I will then not expect us to fall all the way to 10,000 probably ever. Can we still fall down to 12,000? The answer is yes, because 12,000 is the prior swing high. However, if we slowly go to 20,000 into January, I would then be comfortable buying the pullback at 14 to 15,000. So the slower we go up, the higher my pullback target is. And the faster we go up, the lower my pullback target is. But for a long-term position, just hold on to it. All right, we're doing pretty good on live views. We got about 1,250. Any other good comments? Once again, I have to point out that Did I take Bcash off the table? No, Bcash is still here. Okay, so I have to remind people once again, look at the value of Bcash relative to Bitcoin. If you do the math, it's almost 1%. It's 1.5% of the value. So how many times cheaper is Bcash versus Bitcoin? Bcash is what, say $250 a coin? So I'm going to do the math on my little cell phone here. So I'm going to open up a calculator. And I'm going to do, what's the price of Bcash? Hold on. I want to get the right number. The price of Bcash is $250. I'll give them $4 extra. Let's say $250. So the price of Bitcoin is 15,100. I'm going to lower the price of Bitcoin. I'm giving Bcash the benefit of the doubt. So $15,100 divided by $250. So Bcash is 60 times cheaper than Bitcoin. Do you know what that means? Because the lowest unit of Bcash, I like to refer to it as the Vays, is 60 times cheaper than the lowest unit of Bitcoin, which is the Satoshi. So by default, if they both did 7 transactions a second, Bcash is by default 60 times cheaper in transaction fees in dollar terms to Bitcoin. You're not comparing apples to apples because one transaction fee is 60 times cheaper because the unit of account is 60 times cheaper in dollar terms. All right, I'm going to glance at some comments here. Tone, as I am looking through the Bitcoin to shitcoins pairs, I am realizing that this is a mass exodus of the shitcoins back to Bitcoin. Yeah, we've seen this before. We've seen it before. It's not the first time and it won't be the last time. When Bitcoin crashes, shitcoins crash more. When Bitcoin rises really quickly, the rise in Bitcoin is assisted by people dumping their shitcoins and going into Bitcoin. Shitcoins only perform well when Bitcoin is rising slow and steady. When Bitcoin is rising slow and steady, shitcoins tend to outperform. Now, I would rather see Bitcoin rise slow and steady because I hate it when Bitcoin skyrockets up and then crashes down. I hate it for 2 reasons. One is, it makes Bitcoin look like an amateur market. And 2, most people lose money because they can't time the market. And 3, it can make me look silly trying to time a bubble top. It's a lot easier for my style of trading as a trader to analyze orderly markets. But when Bitcoin is in an orderly market, my absolute sweet spot of analyzing Bitcoin in its orderly market, shitcoins pump when Bitcoin is orderly because it's boring, it doesn't have enough liquidity. It doesn't have enough volatility, and people start speculating on shitcoins. Shitcoins rise, and all the scammers start promoting them on social media, creating this hype, and then, calling me an idiot for not understanding shitcoins when I actually do. Celsius seemed to defy the laws. Not really. It's also a scam shitcoin like the rest. All right. Look, guys, I've already had a really long day. I don't know how long I can stick around. Hyperwave is not invalid yet. I keep saying Hyperwave gets invalidated when this red line goes horizontal. And Hyperwave completes, would have completed had we fallen under or approximately to $1,000. And I keep repeating, Tyler was not wrong. The primary use of hyperwave is to get you out of a bubble with a profit. Tyler Jenks used hyperwave to sell all his Bitcoin investments in December. He probably timed the Bitcoin exit better than anyone that wasn't lucky. Yes, of course, there were people that bought their Lambos right here at the top, but they were lucky to do so. They did not exit because of some technical analysis trading expertise. They exited for other reasons, and they got lucky that they exited at the top, and good for them. Tyler Jenks exited at the perfect time because of hyperwave. Unfortunately, no one really knew Tyler back then. Tyler came on my show for the first time, I believe, maybe I'm not even sure if he came after this. He might have come afterwards, but I was already talking to Tyler. I got to check the history of YouTube to see when Tyler came on my channel. So hyperwave got Tyler out at probably above $18,000. He got him out with all of his profits. And then the second point of hyperwave is how low it usually goes and when it gets invalidated. And everyone is upset that hyperwave it didn't go down to 1,000, but that's not the primary function of hyperwave. The primary function is to profit from phase 3 and 4 and get out at the top. That's the primary function, to identify a hyperwave when it's happening, not on the back end. And Tyler stayed out of the market until early 2019. And unfortunately, he passed away in the summer of 2019. I would have loved to get his opinion on all of this. I'm sure he would be bullish as hell. I'm sure he would be putting everything into it back here based on his ability to trade the financial markets. Can you please take a look at the NKLA? I really don't want to look at stocks right now because of all this uncertainty with the presidency. Looking at stocks right now makes no sense. I'll glance at it, but I doubt I'll have anything useful to say. I have nothing. I don't even know what Nikola Corporation does. This is the daily chart. I don't like the shape of this. The shape of this looks like it's going lower, but the bounce off of the support line looks like it's going higher. The weekly is in a bearish posture and earnings is coming. So I would not be buying this. This looks like a very volatile stock. It moves a lot. Might be a very good earnings play with options, which is what I used to do. See, this is great. If I saw this thing falling into an MRI bottom, I would be very interested in buying here. It would have made me some money, nothing too crazy. But once we come back and we test the same low levels again, I'm no longer as enthusiastic of going long. In fact, if this thing reverses and closes below this green dotted line, I think this thing is going to go lower. And I know it has fallen quite a bit in the last 6 months. I have no idea what happened here. This is not the kind of chart I would be buying. The only time I would be buying this is actually right here off the MRI low and potentially off of this MRI low. But the trade-off of this MRI low not have been very successful. And I would not have bought off of the extension A because that's not enough for me to buy. I would have needed a double MRI bottom, which didn't come. However, had I stayed with the bullish trade off of this MRI, which I'm not sure why I would have taken my stop loss. But had I forgot to set my stop loss and, I don't know, got stuck at an airport for 3 days and I realized over here that I'm still in a bullish trade, I would have taken my profit at the MRI sell. And I would have been happy to buy back in on this MRI buy, which also would have lost me money as my stop loss would have gotten hit. But this is what I'm talking about. Once you break this green line, things tend to get pretty bad. And once this green line got broken, this stock fell another 40%. And that's significant. Now, catching this fall is, of course, tricky. It had a big gap. And I would not have been short here. And when it gapped so much, I would have said, forget it, I missed the short. Had this candle closed below this support line in an orderly fashion, I would have been all over that short trade because it was a $30 stock. Now that it's only a $16 stock, the short trade isn't as interesting because the downside is now limited. I don't want to look at stocks today, guys. I mean, the markets are in disarray because there is uncertainty as to who the president is. Tone, any plans to invite Michael Saylor to your show? I think it would be a good show for shitcoiners. Look, I don't have plans. I mean, I DM'd him to try and get him on that 10-hour stream. He never replied. Am I gonna spend my free time emailing him to come on the show? The answer is no. If Michael Taylor reaches out to me to come on my show, he'll be welcome immediately. So it's not about my show. See, I do not profit by having, well, I don't really profit at all, but this show isn't, I go and find guests. When I have friends in the space, they're welcome to come on the show. When it's very convenient for me, if I happen to be in a conversation with someone, but I don't have a team, it's just me, and I'm not gonna go chasing Michael Taylor for an interview or Elon Musk or Donald Trump. That's just not what my show is. I would love to have him on the show, but I'm also not going to be chasing him to get him on the show because it's just not what the show is about, not what this channel is about. All right, guys, had a long day. I'm going to get going. I'll try to bring you another video tomorrow. We'll see how this goes. The daily chart's going higher. You got 4 hours to go to close. 4 or 3, I'm not sure. We had clocks changed, so I have no idea if that's not, if the close of day is now 7 Eastern or 8 Eastern, who knows. And I am going to get going. Let me cut the screen share. Thank you all for watching. We'll keep an eye on the elections. It is what it is. You guys know who I wanted to win, and not because I do think Trump was a good president, and I do believe that. And we discussed that at length during the election stream. And we'll see what happens going forward. All right, guys. I will talk to you all on the next